Hashtag sorry, not sorry, but welcome back to season 3. Yeah, with the dwellers below, dwellers below.
Welcome back to another episode of the Dwellers Below. Danny, you've managed to get your shirt on before the intro ended. That's a good start,
Just
or a
barely.
bad start, depending on your
Viewers
perspective.
will be disappointed.
We're backity back.
Well, we are backity back, gentlemen.
We're rocking it old school today. We've got a list review show for an upcoming tournament. Haven't done one of them in a few years. So yeah, Axemaster this weekend, which I'm helping to organise, but also playing in, which is exciting. So
No conflict of interest there. That's
none
just
at
everything above
all.
board.
This is basically going to be me going through everyone's armies and figuring out who I want to play in round 1, 2, and then 3.
Yeah, me and Lockie would like a round 3 grudge, please. Let's
do
Let's
it. 10-10, get
Well,
to the pub.
I mean, you're the Empire guy in this pie graph, and Lockie's the Ogre guy. So maybe I'll play you two round 1 and 2, and then you can play each other in round 3.
I like how precise it gets, like 6.7%, where it's just like one person. You know what I mean?
I want at least 2 points next time you do a graph, please, Daniel.
The only reason that the percentages are there is because vampire counts 20%. That's a good stat to just roll off. 20% of the Australian meta is vampire counts. Legacy
please nerf.
That's right.
Assuming this is being recorded on the Wednesday, assuming we're actually going to get this out by Saturday, so other people can look at this.
Shut up! I edit things quickly and efficiently, and I never sit on episodes until a whole bunch of relevant things have happened.
Not once.
I might even edit this one tonight. We'll see how we go.
Right, let's get into it.
So this is the Australian meta right here. It's like sample size of one event, but this is it. If you're thinking, what do they do in Australia? 20% of them play vampires, 13% play Royal Clan Dwarves, and then there's a bunch of one-ups. Oh no, we've got 2 people playing Nomadic War. And if you add in the other Orc and Goblin list, there's 3 Orc.
No, that's the Beastmen. That's the Beastmen. Sorry, my pie graph isn't that great. 2 beasts.
Oh no, you're right. 2 beasts. I thought there was. Oh well, there's 3 Orcs because there's a Troll Horde. So they're
that's right.
Out. So the vampires just look bigger because they've only got one list. I'm finding issues. There's issues in this data set, Danny.
I didn't collect the data. I merely presented it. That's all. And by collect the data, I mean Lockie read out the names to me about 5 minutes ago. So
I had to do it twice because he stuffed it up.
Why you got to do me like that, man? Why you got to do me like that?
No, it's a for 15-player event or 16, I think, with the Gumby. I don't know. That might be also a vampire player, Nick. But yeah, it's a reasonable
probably
spread.
high elves for some variety.
High elves, okay. It's it's a reasonable spread. It's good to see not everyone's playing Bretonnians or Tomb Kings. I'm glad that my poor ogres aren't going to be going into the meat grinder all weekend.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this, it's how do you feel about undead? Because there's 3 vampires and a Tomb King, so that's a quarter of the field.
I mean, we know undead are strong. It's interesting, and not to bury the lead, but once we get into it, it doesn't look like. It doesn't look like any of them are. No one's taking 120 skeleton archers, for example.
Yeah. No one can be bothered. That's for online tournaments, not fucking physical tournaments.
Right.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, let's talk about these undead. So let's get straight into it. So first list is Brian with vampire counts. We've got a Master Necromancer, level 4 Necromancy on he's on foot with the Spell Familiar and the Scepter. What does the Scepter do? Do you guys know?
Yeah, Scepter lets you use the Resurrection twice.
Yep.
So yeah, your little double resurrects, but I think you roll a dice every time you use the Scepter, and on a 1, you take a wound.
Yep. He's got 3 wounds. You can raise them back. He'll be right. Vampire count with Beguile on a zombie dragon. Biting Blade. I don't know if that's just for some magic attacks. Armor of Silver
Literally
Steel,
just magic attacks, yeah.
and the Talisman of Protection. So you've got a ward save on a big dragon. It's it's 500 points. Now, if these lists look big, actually, we should probably speak to that. If these lists look a bit big, they're 2,400 points. It's a 2,400 point event. So we've got CanCon event coming up in January, which is a 2,400 point event. So we thought we'd match that. Let people practice their armies for CanCon. So yeah, 2,400 point of difference.
Just quickly, 2,400 event on the 14th of December, 2024. It's called Axemaster. It's down in Hyatt. That's what the event we're talking about. I think we all skip that. But sorry, go on.
Well, if you listen to if I post this in time and you listen to it in time and you decide you want to play, feel free. We don't want to have a Gumby, so we could use another player.
Yeah, that's right.
And all the information will be in the show notes, I'm sure.
Yeah, okay. You can chip in and do the fucking show notes then, Lockie. Thanks for offering. So the vampire on the zombie dragon and a little thrall BSB Dark Acolyte.
Yeah, the beguile is annoying. It's a leadership test. Otherwise, you only hit on 6s.
Yeah, it's not a test you want to fail, and he's playing necromancy, so you're just going to be debuffing.
That's right. Plus the leadership debuffs makes it annoying.
Yep. Dark Acolyte, Dark Magic, and Spell Familiar on the Vampire Thrall. And then 10 Crypt Ghouls, 5 Dire Wolves, 5 Dire Wolves, 20 Warriors with Spears, 30 Warriors with full command, 40 Zombies, a Corpse Cart, 20 Graveguard with full command, and 2 units of 5 Blood Knights. So it's a bit of a mixed arms sort of list. Danny, I think you might have played against this list the other day.
Yes, yeah. We didn't get around to finishing the game, but I ran a similar like mixed arms Empire list against this. Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of it revolves around the just bringing stuff back in good old undead fashion. What he learnt in our game and what he'll have to be a little bit wary of, I think, in this event is keeping those 2 units of Blood Knights close to his Resurrectionists. I think it's a 12-inch range, and that happens in your command phase. So you have to, or whatever it's called, strategy phase. Sorry, and so you have to really prepare for that. And he wasted a turn against me because I noticed that a 1 unit was outside of resurrect range, and I just popped 4 of them, 3 or 4 of them. And he was like, "Whoop, moving back." But yeah, and then the rest of the list is basically designed to not die. He's making that vampire count as defensive as he can. He's got throw away wolves and ghouls, and then the skeletons, the zombies are just gonna sit there. You need to commit serious stuff to killing 165 points of skeletons. So
yeah, there's a lot of stuff here. Like it gums up the board pretty well. It's got some pretty sort of tanky units. My probably worry is the damage output. I mean, it seems pretty reliant on the dragon and the Blood Knights for the damage output. Graveguard can be scary, but they're not that fast.
Yeah, I actually also played Brian last week. I mean, Brian's a longtime friend of the cast. He plays so many games. I've been playing a bit of Marvel with him in the last year or so. But
the last game I played against him was Infinity. So
there you go. He's a fiend. He seriously he just deep dives every 3 months into a different game. And I know that most of his models for this list is from his Age of Sigmar army. He's kind of rebased them. We had a game, and he's still learning Old World. He didn't play a lot of Warhammer Fantasy Battles in the day, so it's good. Like he's kind of learning from a clean slate. We talked about a few of the changes that we could make. He clearly hasn't made them because he probably hasn't had time to think about it again since our game. I think there's a few redundancies. Like I'd like to see a better weapon than the Biting Blade on the Vampire count, even just a great weapon to get that strength up there. I'm not sure Armor of Silvered Steel is, that's 40 points just to give him a 3-up armor save, but he's already has a 4-up armor save because of the zombie dragon, whether or not that's worth it.
Yeah, it's not really efficient, is it?
No, there's definitely some efficiencies there. I think Vampire Thrall, you could easily drop that to a White King and it'll just be a lot cheaper. I think having the Blood Knights all in 1 unit is probably the better play. And lastly, probably the Graveguard. I think having Drilled or something like them, having great weapons would be good. But, I think it's a solid enough list because Undead are just inherently strong. So I think he'll do okay with them.
Yeah, it's kind of
and faster than you think with reserve move as well.
True. I think this is a good starting off point, or sort of jumping off point. It's just it needs a bit of refinement, and I think there's small things like the drilled and stuff in the grave guard. Yeah, you missed that.
The other thing we talked about as well when I chatted to him about it was that it's the appeal of Old World is ranked up units of infantry and unit fillers and big blocks. And I love that. He loves that. So props to him for playing it.
Luckily, that's the best thing about Old World.
It's good to see lots of infantry, that's for sure.
Danny, take us through this one from James.
I just had a candy cane in my mouth. How dare you? No, James is running vampire counts as well. And James has a 450-point Master Necromancer on a Mortis engine. He's level 4 with Necromancy. He's got a spell familiar, the Skull Staff, and the Talisman of Protection. Skull Staff is...
I'll look that up while you keep talking about the list.
I
don't know Vance very well.
Yeah, I looked at it earlier today and I've forgotten. He has a vampire count with Dark Acolyte, Master of the Black Arts on an Abyssal Terror. He's a level 2 wizard with Illusion, Great Weapon, Lore Familiar, and the Crown of the Damned. That's the 4-up ward, but stupid. White Lord, Battle Standard Bearer with a War Banner, Great Weapon, and Charmed Shield. 2 Banshees, as you like to see in any good list that's going to yell obscenities at you. And 2 units of 10 Crypt Ghouls, 2 units of 5 Dire Wolves with a Doom Wolf. So dumb. I love that they can have a Doom Wolf. And 21 Grave Guard, which is a big chunk of Grave Guard. Shield, full command, the Drakenhof banner to give them that 4-up regen, I believe it is.
5 up.
Oh, it's 6 down to 5. Yeah, right.
6 to 5.
And then 3 Felbats, the big unit you were talking about of 7 Blood Knights with Drilled, full plate, a Castellan with Supernatural Horror and a Standard Bearer, and 3 Vargeists, rounding out his 2,400 points.
Oh, you forgot there's a Vargoyle in there.
And a Vargoyle, which cool. I mean, the dude writing the legacy lists clearly had just been told, "Hey man, can this? It's not going to be an actual army in the game. Just smash it out." And he's like, Vargoyle.
I think that's what they were called in 8th as well. But yeah.
Crazy.
Interesting.
So the skull stuff's good. So the skull stuff is +3 inches for your dispel range and +1 to dispel. That's a really solid item. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's right. It's 35 points, I believe, which is really good.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's
got
what
do we think?
Yeah, I wonder if he's got the old Abyssal Terror model for the vampire count, which is like a really janky, cool model. Very small dirty. Compared to the very small compared to like the newer Terrorgeists and the zombie dragons. I feel like he's paying a lot of points for like something that's not a dragon on that one. Which we'll see.
What's the actual difference?
Yeah.
Like,
it's like a bad weapon.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it gives some extra weapons, extra toughness.
It's got a 5-up ward though. A 4-up ward, sorry, with Crown of the Damned.
Extra words, Crown of the Damned, Dark Acolyte, which I'm not sure of. But yeah, 469 is a hefty whack of points.
Yeah, I mean, if we go back to Brian's list, he spent 500 on his vampire count on a zombie dragon.
Yeah.
And this is 469. So it's 30 points cheaper. This one's got more magic, I think. It's kind of it's playing. This is more of a mixed sort of role for the vampire, but I almost probably prefer a dedicated combat vampire compared to this sort of.
Is he going for the? Is he going for doppelganger at that point, right? With the great weapon and an illusion magic.
I mean,
doppelganger on a level 2 seems.
Yeah, he's probably not unhappy to get doppelganger, but I don't know if that's the exact plan.
And Master of the Black Arts. Master of the Black Arts gives an extra wizard level.
Yeah, that's right.
So he'll be level 3, which is okay. So
yeah, cool.
It's still a lot of points, I think. Yeah, the Abyssal Terror isn't a zombie dragon at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. Look, it seems like that vampire count can sort of go around and do what he wants and be a real like solo piece out on the flank or something. He has, which Brian very kindly doesn't have in the past vampire counts list we looked at, the screams. So we got a 3 account, I think, one from the Mortis engine and one from each Banshee, which is not as many as you can have, but screams are still good.
Yeah, this sort of approaches it a bit differently to Brian's. It's still got that one Blood Knight unit compared to the two that Brian had, but its damage is coming. Again, it's probably got less obvious sources of damage except for the scream. So against some stuff, it's going to cause it's going to be really dangerous, more dangerous than Brian's list. But against other stuff, it's not going to have as much damage output potentially. But it's still
certainly doesn't
pretty
have
damn
the wound
durable.
sink.
It doesn't have the wound sink, but still gums up the board a little bit. But yeah, more points in characters here. I mean, with the Mortis engine.
Yeah, and it looks like that Drakenhof banner is a pretty standard upgrade on the Graveguard.
Oh yeah, it's almost always on a Graveguard unit.
I almost worry about the Mortis engine not having the 4-up board though. Like it's got a 5-up. I know it's still got.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, if you're going to take an Abysmal Terror,
4.
you're going to want the 4-up on the Abysmal Terror, but
Abysmal Terror.
Yeah, could you go all in and make that a more dedicated combat vampire? I'm interested to see how that Vampire Lord plays on the day.
Yeah, and it's also about how you play it, right?
If
charging everything willy-nilly.
Yeah, if people don't have a lot of shooting to keep that thing honest, it's going to fly around being a real nuisance.
Yeah, he also gets an extra invocation of Nehek from the Dark
Acolyte.
Dark Acolyte, yeah.
The Dark what? Dark Occulty.
Yeah. Acolyte. Which,
cool.
that'll help.
He's got Lore Familiar, so he's picking his spells.
Yeah.
That's Lore Familiar's picking spells. So yeah, what's he picking? Yeah, I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah, Doppelganger for sure, and then one of the others, I suppose.
If you're taking Doppelganger and you're just like, I'm just going to Leroy it into combat and Doppelganger people, are you really not just better off taking a combat vampire on a zombie dragon, though? I'd be interested to chat to James about that. It's an interesting... I mean, this probably can do more damage than a zombie dragon if it gets the Doppelganger off, but if it doesn't...
Yeah.
It's
only like 90 points more as well, 95 points more to get the zombie dragon, so... Anyway,
interesting.
See how it goes. Much smaller base. Maybe that helps.
Yeah, well, that's true. Those big bases are annoying. Then we have our third vampire list, which is Scott's vampires. Now, this is Lockie. Take us through this one.
Yeah, so Scott played Scott a couple of times. Good. He's a good player. He's a
bad man. He's a bad man.
He's every time I've played him, he's tuned his list a bit more, and I think this is another iteration of that. So yeah, double Mortis engine, 2 level 4s on that, which is pretty scary. So there's 2 screams off the bat, plus the 2 Tomb Banshees. So that's 4, plus the 2 Terror Guys. That's 6 screams I'm counting, guys. That's pretty nuts.
That is the maximum. That's all the screams you can have.
Yeah. He's got the White Lord. That's it. The White Lord sits in the Graveguard unit. They're not drilled. He normally takes them with drilled though. So that's interesting.
They might be drilled. It's possible I missed drilled. Let me have a look.
Yeah, double check that one. And he does have the corpse cart. I was going to ask before, and then we went through, but the corpse cart's kind of interesting. That on a 4-up, it gives you an extra wound on the invocation of Nehek, which I don't see a lot of people running it, and maybe he had some extra points because it's 2,400.
It's also Brian ran it against me as well. It's also a bubble of -1 to the unstable as well.
Yeah.
That's what it's really there for, because then you get like between your White Lord and your corpse cart, you're -2 to when you lose combat. So even if you there's no dragon in this list, but even if your necromancers lose combat by a couple, they're not just crumbling immediately.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, these Mortis engines are just throwing out bubbles of, extra movement and extra to cast. They're pretty scary.
I dare say those 22 units of 22 zombies will be much bigger 40 by the end of the game.
Yeah, for sure. And there is drilled. The Graveguard do have drilled.
So yeah, based on my experience playing, I've played vampires a few times now, but I just don't think you want to engage this. I think you want to be able to try and shoot it. I think the Mortis engines can be vulnerable. Like, it takes a lot of shooting, but they can be vulnerable if you've got enough shooting. So wood
Water
elf list
Ascensions do not like cannons.
Yeah, cannons, wood elf shooting, vortexes, fireballs. It's only toughness 5, I think. If you can get one of them off and then force him to come to you, then that's going to be a problem. But if you try and run at it, he's just going to scream you off.
My beastmen do not have a good time against this. Like, I don't have any real shooting. I've got pretty low leadership across the board, and it's not a good time.
I like this list a lot. I like his chances.
What do you do against the screams if you can't just gun it off the board with cannons?
They're pretty short range, so it depends what you've got, right? So if I have, I'm not, but if an Empire list has a bunch of cannons, like, what you do with the Mortis Engines is just leave your cannons there, and that means he's putting them behind a rock the whole game. Yep. Like, that's what he just doesn't, because you lose one of those, it's 440, 430 points. That's a lot to claw back. So they are terrifying, but the shooting is a really bad counter to them.
It's hard to get points off him otherwise, really. Like
Terrorgeist don't have any points. 200 points, not that much for Terrorgeist, is it?
What's the brackets for the win conditions for Axemaster? Is it 250 or 200?
200.
Yeah, 200.
Yeah. I think, like more.
So broadly, kill one Terrorgeist and then hide.
Get a battle point.
Go 11-9. I think
That's right.
These kind of lists, I think, should force people to consider taking more shooting / magic missiles and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lottery, right? You're never gonna, rarely is there a list that's going to be good against everything all the time.
Yeah,
and this is, it's a pick. It's saying, well, it's also saying these are the models you have, but it's saying I don't think there's going to be that much shooting. And so far, I think, just based on my experience of who I've played in Melbourne, there hasn't been too much.
I think when we go through the field, this list is going to be potentially one of the strongest there. Going through the field, it's got some bloody good matchups. There's a few lists. There's not a lot of lists, I think, that are going to be able to keep up with this one.
Cool. Well, we'll watch your progress with great interest, Scott. Good luck to you.
All right, so that was the vampires. So Scott's is pretty clearly the strongest of the 3 vampire lists with the screams. It's probably the meta list, but the other 2 I think are both sort of fairly even keel. One's got more screams, one's got a bit more combat stuff.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, Lockie, like Undead are just generically pretty strong. And they've got a lot of good stuff going for them.
Yeah, they can't just randomly break and get run down, and they're not going to randomly panic off the board.
Right.
So,
well, speaking of undead, we have a Tomb King player as well. He's got a High Priest. This is just generic, as far as I can tell. It was just a generic Grand Army Tomb Kings.
Yeah, it is,
So we've got a level 4 Necromancy High Priest with a Dispel Scroll, a Hieratic Jar, so the double raise, the Earthing Rod, and the Flying Carpet. Flying Carpet's interesting. Very on theme for a Tomb King army. A Necrotect, Armor of Meteoric Iron, and the Ruby Ring of Ruin. One can only imagine that he'll be sitting in the Tomb Guard unit. A Royal Herald, BSB, Banner of the Desert Winds, the Warding Splint. I need to look up what the Warding Splint does. And a shield, and then a Tomb King with the Ogre Blade and the Talisman of Protection. So he'll, again, just be sitting in one of these infantry blocks and just being a bit of a deterrent, I imagine.
Hot tip, it's the Tomb Guard.
That was the assumption. 3 units of skeleton skirmishers, one of which ambushes.
God damn, they are so cheap. 25 points.
Yeah, nuisance factor unit. 36 skeletons with the war banner and in a phalanx. 20 Tomb Guard with drilled in a phalanx and the icon of the Sacred Eye. And then some nuisance value stuff: 3 carrion, 2 tomb swarms, 2 tomb scorpions. Interesting with the swarms. I wonder if they could just be another scorpion. 2 units of 3 Shubti, a casket, a Necrosphinx. I like having a Necrosphinx in there. I think they're pretty good. And a catapult with skulls of the foe, which combos pretty nicely with the casket. Sort of generic. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, a generic mixed arms Tomb Kings for sure, but has some serious value, I think. I was going to ask, can the tombs? I know that mortuary cults can sacrifice wounds to increase their casting value. Can he do that in here? Because that's what I've seen Tomb Swarms used for in other Tomb King lists. But that might just be a mortuary cult thing.
Yeah, I think it's just a mortuary cult thing.
Right. And also interesting to see the Earthing Rod. That's just a generic magic item that you don't often see re-rolling the miscast on a miscast table.
It's only 5 points, isn't it? It's pretty cheap, and I think it's good value. The worst thing you want to do is miscast on your first spell, and then you roll the one that is like you can't cast it for the rest of the turn, and then it's over.
Fucking hate when that happens.
Yeah.
So I reckon that's probably what it's for. I am interested in the sharp deer. What do you guys think about them? I thought that they would have bows, but they don't.
Yeah, I thought they'd have bows too, and they don't. I even double checked it because I really thought they would have bows. I mean, those sharp deer I think are okay. They're not terribly expensive.
Relic blade things and 3 monstrous infantry. They do a bit of work. They're there to support though. I mean, I played Chris at an event a while ago. And it was just the inexorable and indomitable advance of Skeleton Warriors and Tomb Guard just slowly coming at me the whole game. And you can't chip wounds because they just come back with the Hieratic Jar and the rezzing. Meanwhile, you're getting casketed and Screaming Skull catapulted, just generally harassed. Tomb Scorpions are coming at you. And all the while, those 2 big units are just walking at you. In our game, he put 2 or 3 maybe of his heroes in the Tomb Guard unit, and you're just not doing anything to that unit unless you can.
Okay, and really... that unit gets Vanguard and innate reserve move, so it's always moving twice, and it's going to Vanguard at you.
And the Banner of the Desert Wind gives it reserve move, so it's just coming at you, and you need to put a lot into it, and you won't have a lot because the rest of your army is busy dealing with all the trash around it, and the Tomb King is no slouch, especially with an Ogre Blade. Like you want, putting, and like you can't challenge him out, or you can only, there's only so many challenges you can issue.
Yeah.
And if you just put 1 unit of Monstrous Cav or Mournfang or something into it, like that Tomb King's gonna eat.
Yeah, he's innately relatively tough, particularly with the Talisman of Protection. And he's got 4 attacks, but he's got 4 attacks with a pretty high weapon skill, given he's going to be in the unit with the Icon of the Sacred Eye. And he's got an Ogre Blade, and you got to respect it. You got to respect that shit.
Yeah.
Is it going to be enough to deter like a fully kitted Chaos Dragon? Probably not, but it's going to deter anything less than a Chaos Dragon.
Also, I don't know that a fully kitted Chaos Dragon, it'll take some time to get through it. And in the meantime, he's cleaning up everywhere else because he's not investing crazy points for that really resilient block. It's 500-ish points.
Yeah.
600 points for...
Particularly, you can just keep rezzing your champion if you need to, or feed it a Necrotect, or
it's points you're just not going to get, right? So you're going to be able to...
It's good. I like it.
A few points with the sort of ablative stuff in the special section, but tidying up the Tomb Scorpions, the Swarms, the Carrion, the Skirmishers is going to take an inordinate amount of time and really not be worth that much.
Yeah. Yeah,
keen to see the Necrosphinx. I've not seen the Necrosphinx on the table before.
No, and we played it
as a unit.
Yeah, we played it 2K, and so he's added that since that's part of the upgrade to 2.4. So yeah, very cool.
Because that has Monster Slayer and Killing Blow as well, doesn't it? On a super high strength attack.
Yeah, big choppy.
Yeah,
kind of scary.
So it's only one attack though. It's not like a Gorgon where it's got all of them. Danny, Empire.
Oh, wow.
Look at this. What is this? What is this?
This is nonsense.
Right. So, first of all, this is theft. Pure, straight, and simple theft. There's a player in Queensland, I believe, called Angus Sturbrae, who is, by all reports, a very good player who I went to with my troubles of losing many an Empire game almost all of the Empire games. And this is essentially his list with some bits tacked on to go up to 2,400. So his competitive record with this is 10 wins, 1 draw, and no losses, which is phenomenal for any Empire army, almost unheard of. And this is his baby. It's off meta Empire. So yeah, there's a lot of. We'll go through it. I've got a General of the Empire on Imperial Griffin with 2 heads, the Ogre Blade, the White Cloak. General of the Empire on a regular Griffin, Sword of Justice, Talisman of Protection. And then there's a Captain BSB with a Razor Standard on a regular Warhorse with the Dragon Bow. Priest of Sigmar, cheap and cheerful, great weapon. Priest of Ulrich, just on a horse. A level 4 on foot with Demonology and the Lore Familiar. And the core is 6 Knights, Drilled, Stubborn, and a Preceptor. 4 Knights, Drilled and Stubborn. 20 Halberds, Veteran State Troop Halberds with full command and drilled. 2 detachments of 5 State Troops, 2 units of 5 Archers. 3 Demis with a Champion and full plate, and 8 Outriders with a Champion with the Grenade Launching Blunderbuss, and a Stanky Stank. And that's it. So it looks like a whole lot of nothing, really, which is and I've had a couple of games with it, and I don't at all think I'm going to replicate Angus's incredible performance, but it's a lot of fun. So it plays kind of like an avoidance list, which is really just interesting and fun to do as an Empire player. It's not something I've done a lot of. Usually it's, your lines, your detachments, your cannons, hope you can shoot them until they get you. But the 2 generals are really mobile on those Griffins, flapping and flying around. The Priest of Ulrich and the BSB going into the Outriders makes a unit that packs more punch than it should, particularly against large.
That's an obscene first turn of shooting.
Yeah.
What's the range? Yeah. What's the range on those guys? 24
inches, and they have Vanguard. So, okay. And the Dragon Bow is another damage 2 weapon, AP 2, I think, 36-inch range. And there's a whole lot of little things that, if you play it well, can add up to a really fun, engaging game that can potentially, get you places. So, like things like the Outriders they have their repeater handguns, which are ponderous and what's the other one? Ponderous and cumbersome, which means they neg 2 when they move and shoot, and you can't stand and shoot with them. So they're good when you stand still, if you can get them to stand still. But they also have fire and flee, and they have pistols. And the Priest of Ulrich's prayer that gives them damage 2 lasts until your next start of 10 sub-phase. So you can flee, stand and shoot with your pistols at any range, and usually get away. And then the wizard goes in the halberds. That's a thing that Empire players have been doing since the dawn of time now, which is flying infantry, putting them in marching column and flying them 36 inches across the board. If they're 4, I found this out last game because I just quick math. If they're 4 wide, a 180 degrees wheel costs you 12 inches. So you've got 24 inches of move, and then you turn around. So you're behind someone, and it's very much pick your fights. There's a lot of stuff that you're just not going to want to fight, and you're just chipping. Stubborn is useful in the Knights because you just pop through other units, and you can reliably pop through other units. But yeah, and yeah, like with the halberds, with the demonology spells and the Priest of Sigmar, if you get all 3 of the combat buffs up, you've got a line of 4, and then you drilled to 9. So you've got 18 attacks at strength 5, AP 2, with armor bane 1, 11 skill 4. Like it does more damage than people expect. So
if you get 3 spells off,
and if you get the charge,
a shitty prayer and 2 spells. That's right. The idea is you get a charge with something, right? So if you put a Griffin or 2 in front of their unit and you put your halberds behind their unit, you have to face one way. So there's a whole lot of moving parts, and
I like the halberds more when they're zooming 36 inches across the board at people.
100%, yeah. And
there's only 20 guys.
Yeah, I played a game that was very fun. A dwarf army marched, across the whole table to get to me a few turns of marching, and then I just put my halberds in the other corner of the board, and his dwarfs had nothing to do and nowhere to go. So it's a house of cards for sure. I think still, and I don't think I'm really the pilot to play it, but it's a lot of fun. So hopefully we'll get more than 2 losses and then dropping from the event like I did last time.
No cannons, controversial.
There's a cannon on the steam tank.
Yeah, bad cannon.
A bad cannon.
It's a large target cannon that can see over everything and moves.
Oh, they're not terrible cannons.
Bad cannon, bad weapons.
Yeah. I mean, it's Empire. What are you going to do? This is a list that you're going to, I feel like, maybe fondly remember with a smile after the Arcane Journal drops and I just shoot you off the board in one turn with 12 cannon.
I eagerly await that day.
Yeah, so that's kind of it in a nutshell. But yeah, I think if I can win one game, fantastic.
I mean, I look at this and I just go, I don't know how to approach playing against this because, like, the Halberdiers kind of do some stuff, but they kind of look pretty meh. There's only 3 demis. The tank is annoying because it's so hard to deal with. You've got less easy points of artillery to chip off than most Empire lists. You've got a lot of points spent in characters. The 2 Griffins are like, they could be annoying, but you don't want to take them too seriously because they're not that good. But you got to respect them.
No, they're not a Chaos Lord. Even combined, they're not a Chaos Lord.
That's right. And then the Outrunners are potentially just blasting entire units off the board, but potentially just dying to a magic missile very quickly.
100%. Yeah. And the last game I played with this, I lost 5 or 6 out of the 8 Outriders. And so they just spent the rest of the game running away in a corner. It's whatever. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm keen to see this on the table and see how you play it. Because I think if you play it well, it's got potential. If you play it badly, it's gonna be very bad.
Yeah, and just like little fun things to do. Like your state troops, you play in marching column, 5 in a line, and so then they're going to be marching 12 inches, but you can give them the +1 movement spell for with demonology for 15 inches to march 15 inches. Or if you're not using this flying spell, send them 36 inches somewhere. Put 5 little dudes right in front of your shitty thing,
Yeah, okay. I like that.
Right in front of your stupid chaos spawn that fucking random moves.
So I got 2 chaos spawn.
Yeah,
everyone's got 2 chaos spawn, as we'll see.
The other side to that, and I listened to your cast, Danny, with Dave on the weekend about the Empire review, and it's like the 20 state troops it's still 215 points that someone can go and get, whereas if you'd broken that down to more units of like small archers and knights and things like that, maybe you're just doing your double fleas and things like that to avoid people picking up more points, but.
Yeah, but I mean, and that's the thing, is getting some use out of the state troops, which is another huge appeal of this to me, is using the Empire state troops.
Using infantry. Right? Yeah, okay.
And they can very much pick your battles, but they can do work.
Cool.
Sticking with the humans, we've got some Bretonnians. This is a bit of it's not the most horrendous Bretonnian list I've ever seen by a long shot. There's a lot of characters here. This is the only list where I included the character numbers because it's 1,199 points. So I think it's a poor effort to not have spent the 1,200.
That's right.
Surely there's 1 point that could be spent somewhere.
A lance could become something that costs 3 points.
A Morning Star or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
So, Lockie, take us through this list while I work out how they can spend 1 more point.
Good, because I know very little about some of these magic items. But yeah, he's got a Duke on a Warhorse. He's got the Falcon Horn, which is pretty standard. The Baron on the Barded Pegasus with the Giant Blade seems good. Got the Paladin with the BSB. So he's got the Rampaging Banner and the Dragon Slaying Sword. So he doesn't look very defensive, but the Dragon Slaying Sword is potentially scary to big monsters, but who knows?
I mean, he's
maybe
also
just go in and kill him.
Virtue of Heroism on the Duke, right? So that's the Monster Slayer, and so you can't go near the Paladin or the Duke if you.
So you've got 2 copies, yeah, okay. That's interesting.
You can probably risk the paladin. I wouldn't risk the duke, but
What does the rampaging banner do? I was just trying to look that up.
Reroll charges.
yeah.
Oh,
That's
okay.
just a generic banner to reroll charges.
Oh, that's in the generic book, of course. Cool. He's got the level 4 on battle magic with the unicorn. Can unicorns join units?
I'm not sure. Interesting.
I do love the old unicorn model. Level 2 on illusion, just on a warhorse randomly with a biting blade. Lore familiar on that, so he might be trying to go for the spell that stops
the
people from
unicorn
charging. Yeah, that's good. And then he's got a random level 1 damsel on elementalism. So I'm not sure exactly what that's doing and if it'll ever get a spell off, but that's brave of him. 2 units of 14 knights, that's pretty big for units of knights, right?
Chunky knight. Well, and they're chunky, but they're also like there's two characters on war horses plus the 2 damsels, so there's like 4 more characters that are probably joining these units.
Assuming they can actually fit in the board, like on the board on a 12-inch kind of deployment while they're in their lance formation, right?
It's an interesting question.
Like he must have tested it, right? You must think that they would just fit, but
they all start like diagonally on the board because they don't fit straight.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to.
Or just deploy in lines and then reform turn 1.
That's true. You wouldn't want to get wind blasted off the board turn 1. That's all.
True.
I'm gonna try that. I have wind blast.
Yeah, there you go. 6 knights errant, 11 men at arms. That's cute. The 5 questing knights and the field trebuchet. Questing knights is interesting. Are they impetuous? Is that those ones?
I think that's the
no, they're not impetuous, but I believe they don't get swift stride, or there's something that makes them
janky.
less than the top tier pointy crunchy Pegasus knights.
Yeah.
No, they've got swift stride.
At the end of the day, this is just 2
countercharge. Maybe they don't have.
No, they don't have countercharge. Yeah.
There you go.
So at the end of the day, this is just 2 giant blocks of knights with a bunch of characters in them, and it's like, come get me kind of thing.
Nick has done a wild injustice converting this over to this clear and easy to understand format, because the best thing about David's list is that every single unit and character is named. It's not a duke, it's Sir Hector. It's not a baron, it's Sir Ulfius. There's Sir Kay, there's Lady Morgan Le Fay, there's Lady Leonore, Lady Ingrain. Even the Knights of Carcassonne, and he's noted in his list which ones are which because the colors match the bloody thing the place that he's put them. Oh.
We presume that.
I assume, yeah.
It could be he just wrote in brackets red and blue, and they're actually planted, pink and green.
That's true. The ultimate misdirection.
This guy's playing 4D chess.
But it's the way Bretonnians obviously should be played. Heroic charges, monster slayer, and everything you can get it on. Let's go. And added in a few, great things to amp up the competitiveness. The Falcon Horn, of course. Syrian's Locket's really good.
Yes.
All of it.
It's super cool. If you're going for this play style without the Pegasus units and some of the other things, what I would have liked to see is very simple changes, but a second trebuchet if possible, just to put that extra ranged capability, as well as the lore familiar on the level 4, just to make sure you're getting fireball and pillar of fire and all the goody fire guy things, and then that would give you that extra little bit of range just so you can sit back when you need to, and then threaten with the gigantic units.
I don't know, David, but I have a hunch that this list is not a sit back list. I think this is a glorious charge list.
Yeah, this is coming at you. I disagree. I don't think you want another field trebuchet. This is running straight across the board at you.
Yeah, but what happens when you can't do that because there's 6 screens there?
Yeah, well,
I don't
know if one field trebuchet really makes a difference. Then I think this. Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, that's true. 6. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what that single damsel, and even to a lesser extent the level 2 illusion damsel with the lore familiar is kind of doing. It's a lot of points into a level 2. Realistically, those two could come out and could be a level 4. Like looking at the point spent on that prophetess, it's a 225 point prophetess. That's basically exactly what the damsel and the two damsels add up to. So could we have another level 4 there, which would be potentially better than the damsels? But I mean, I don't know if that damsel's just like a bit of a redirector, just a 75 point nuisance value unit that occasionally.
Yeah, I mean, are they hopping in the units and just casting assailments?
It could be, but they're not casting them very strongly. But I guess if you charge the enemy wizard, then they can't dispel you, right?
That's right. And your wizards can still cast your assailants. Yeah, interesting. I don't
know. And then we go into the dwarvesies. So this is Greg Johnson's dwarf army. I played against this the other week. It's an interesting take on dwarves. It's not got the war machines that you normally expect, but there's still a bit of shooting with the Iron Drake. So Ungrim Iron Fist is an absolute lunatic in close combat.
With the
and he'll be in the hammerers, making them unbreakable. You got a Dragon Slayer with Rune of the Sun. That's just a nuisance value little unit. The king is really tough with Fortitude Preservation. It doesn't do a lot of damage. It's just got his 4 attacks with his shield bearers, but he's very difficult to kill.
Yeah, he ain't moving.
And then the Runesmiths just had to do a bit of dispelling. Cool that you can have a Runesmith with a battle standard in the Royal Clan. I love that as just a little utility guy. As your BSB, he's got an old school dispel scroll with the rune of spell breaking. Gives you a bit of magic defense. Just good little 124 point utility unit.
Yeah.
Core is 20 warriors, 10 quarrelers, 2 units of 8 slayers. I'm not sure how good the slayer units really are. They're funny though, because like they're nuisance value, and if they're one of those units, right? That if you kill it, you don't get any points for it. Is that right?
With slayers as well.
I think it's
definitely that's the Doom Seekers.
The Doom Seekers and the Dragon Slayer with the Rune of the Dishonored, I believe. But if the Slayers as well, that's interesting. Yeah, cool.
It would make certainly for an interesting like nuisance value unit that you're just throwing in there to get in the way. And
I mean, I've heard dwarf players talk about Slayers not being great. But I haven't looked into it, and I don't know why. I haven't faced them on the table yet, unfortunately. Did he play the Slayers against you, Nick?
Yeah, he did. I think he had them in one bigger unit. It looks like they might not have that ability.
They're unbreakable, which means you have to kill them to a man to get past them. So the nuisance value is pretty strong. 8 for 130 points, toughness 4. Yeah.
And look, they can with additional hand weapons and the Slayer rule, they're not gonna some large targets that don't have as much sort of save or armor to them, if they get in there. And the list is surprisingly fast with Dwarf Cart motivating things
and is there an anvil? Oh
no, no anvil. So he's spending a lot. He's spending a lot on Ungrim. And then
right.
The Hammerers, like Ungrim in the Hammerers is a 700 point unit.
Yeah,
pretty horrifying one. Like Hammerers is just crazy, especially with drilled. And then he's got 2 bolt throwers, rune of skewering. One's got the stalwart rune, 2 Demon Seekers, a dwarf cart, and then 2 little units of 6 Iron Drakes. The Iron Drakes are really good. Those troll hammer torpedoes are scary as.
Yeah, pew pew pew. And the Cinderblast bombs actually for standard shoots and close range. Deceptively annoying. The rune of skewering on both, and then is the stalwart rune just because of the rule of duplication? Is that the only reason it's there?
Yeah, that's right. It's 5 and it's actually pretty good. Like +1 combat res, is no slouch when you get in like a unit of harpies or something like that in there.
True. Suddenly, your bolt thrower is winning combats.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
fine.
they're close order. Yeah.
My issue with this is it doesn't do anything particularly well. Like it's not crazy fast. Obviously, it's a dwarf army. It's got a lot of points in infantry. Its shooting is decent, but not like really insane. So I think if it's getting outshot, there's probably some issues. And it just, like, against my Beastmen, it just couldn't handle the amount of units I had. And I kind of just ganged up on the 2 units. And it's going to have the hammer unit, it's going to have the warrior unit, but then there's nothing really else around it. Like, the warriors are probably going to have the king in it, hammer is probably going to have Ungrim in them, and then it's just lots of little units, which can be hard to mop up. But if you can get one of those big units, the king in the warriors is pushing 600 points. Ungrim in the hammerers is pushing 700.
Yeah, it's a big whack of points. Yeah,
it's a big whack of points.
And where's
you can kind of isolate one of those units and gang up on them.
Is it just the hammerers that sort of are the damage dealers with that drill? Is that what we're looking at here? Because I mean, bolt throwers can be okay. Iron Drakes, yeah. It doesn't look like he's got any massive hammers.
Yeah, I mean, he could spread out. He could put he could put Ungrim, I guess, in the warriors to spread that out a little bit. But no, you're right. The damage output from the list is a little bit limited, apart from things like the Trollhammer torpedoes.
Yeah, interesting. Interesting. It looks similar to similar in play style, maybe, or theory to Brian's vampires of just don't die, just be tough and don't die, which I guess is half the battle. If you manage to kill some stuff as well, then that's a bonus.
Do the hammers have a 4-up or a 3-up armor save? I'm just looking that up now. I'm just thinking, like, is it possible for like some of the more shooty heavy armies to just kind of take off the hammers? Like, it's only 19 bodies.
Yeah, I think they're on their 4-up heavy armor shields, right?
Yeah.
Like,
they do shield wall though.
What does that do?
And you don't want to charge them because they get yeah. Interesting.
Oh, they're a horrifying close combat unit.
Yeah, you just don't want to
absolutely horrifying
close combat.
If Ungrim's going in the hammers, does he benefit from? Do they then get their Royal Guard rule? Does he count as a king or a thane, or
which one's the Royal Guard rule?
So the Royal Guard rule is any of them can accept or issue challenges.
Yeah, I think so.
Because the rule says king or thane. I just don't know if Ungrim's rules say he counts as a king or a thane for the purposes of. It'd be interesting. I don't think it matters too much. I think I think anything challenging Ungrim's being very brave.
Yeah, true. I killed him with a Gorgon. I just ran the Gorgon in. Knew I could attack first. I'm like, 5's to hit, stuff it. Let's just roll a 6 and kill him.
Horrible. Nasty man.
All right, Reese, also playing dwarves. This is a bit more of a stock dwarf list, I think, Danny.
Yes, yeah. So he's got the King Great Weapon full plate on shield bearers. He's got the Master of Thrall, Master of Preservation, and 2 attacks from the 2 Runes of Fury. He's got a Thane with a Great Weapon full plate battle standard bearer with a Master of Grugny plus the Rune of Battle. On shield bearers with the Preservation and Fortitude again. So 2 very tanky characters. He's got the Anvil in there with 2 old school Dispel Scrolls, 2 No Magics, Rune of Preservation, and Rune of the Furnace. So harder to get rid of than you might think. Another Thane with the handgun with the Master of Bursting Flame, Rune of Accuracy, and the Rune of Rapid Fire, which just turns him into a better unit of Quarrelers, basically. Lots of attacks coming out, or lots of hits and wounds coming out of that guy. Then 24 Longbeards, 453 points of Longbeards with Great Weapons, Shields, Drilled, the Elder Rune of Passage, Standard Bearer with the Elder with a Rune of Passage, and then the Standard Bearer with the Master of Hesitation and the Rune of Battle. So that's a unit that I dare say the King is going to go into, and I think if you're coming to Axemaster and you're playing this list, you don't want to fight that. And I think that's the answer there, is you just don't want to fight that unit. It won't die. He's got 12 Quarrelers, he's got 2 Grudge Throwers, and a Dwarf cart, 10 Rangers with crossbows, great weapons, shields, and all Deadeye, and then 3 units of 5 Iron Drakes with the very much feared Trollhammer torpedoes. Much closer to what we sort of see across the other international metas of the competitive dwarf lists that tend to do very well. Yeah,
it's a lot more stock, isn't it?
Yeah, big and tough, quick because of the anvil.
Yeah, I wonder if because like his 24 Longbeards in comparison to Greg's list, like he's spending all of these points in core, then he gets some other cool things, right? So like maybe the Longbeards with the king is enough rather than having the hammerers plus the
2 separate
and
units,
special characters. You know what I mean? And then that allows him to have the anvil and the double grudge thrower and the extra unit of Iron Drakes plus all the other the crossbowmen and everything. I've
seen an interesting take on a variation of this actually from Darby After Dark, the bloke in Nottingham that plays at Rob's events all the time, and he was saying he doesn't put his Rune of Hesitation on his big block unit. I'm not sure if it's Longbeards or Hammers, whichever he uses, but he doesn't put the Rune of Hesitation on because he wants people to think they can charge it when really they probably shouldn't. So yeah, interesting. But
because even if you've got your charge bonuses, like how much are you really going to kill? And this is a 1,000-point unit with the characters in there.
That's right.
So
that's right. Bring back Purple Sun, I say.
That said, I guess it's an old sort of concept that you don't give people the choice because you assume they're always going to. You should always assume your opponents will make optimal choices. So giving them the ability to make the choice to charge you is actually probably the wrong thing to do, because if they're going to make the wrong choice, you're probably beating them anyway. So if the correct thing to do is to not charge you, then they shouldn't be charging you whether you have that or not. So you should take it, because then if the correct thing to do is to charge you, you're still better off. So and I mean, you should never give your opponent a choice if you can avoid giving them a choice, because they're going to choose the optimal line.
Well, the thing here is also that 24 Longbeards have drilled. They're in marching column. They've got the Anvil of Doom, and they've got the Dwarf cart. So they're coming at you, and if you can't get out of the way, you're going to be in combat whether you like it or not. So yeah, interesting.
What does the Dwarf cart do? Just quickly.
+1 movement.
Plus one movement.
Yeah.
Something else as well. Although there's 2 different dwarf carts that do different things, but I
think one of them's pretty shit, and the other one gives you +1 movement, which is
right.
Yeah, I mean, this is just such a classic dwarf list. It's got one humongous unit with all the points that is just never going to die, and then a bunch of shooting.
Bunch of good shooting.
Yeah, you can't really go wrong unless you can kill that Longbeard unit. I
don't. That's the temptation, isn't it?
So, all right, what have we got next? I mean, this is definitely a stronger list than Greg's. Greg's probably a little bit more interactive. This kind of is just going to run the Longbeards at you and sit back and shoot with the rest of it. But this is not interactive. If we're saying this dwarf list is not interactive, then this is something else.
Oh,
yikes!
Yeah, wild. This is a list I dare say no one wants to play. Good on you, James, for bringing it. Well done, mate. I respect it.
Dave would be very happy.
I thought about, because we did have a resubmit clause for the event, and I thought about flicking this back and just being like, maybe this needs to be toned down a little bit, because it's not going to be much fun to play against. But there's things that can kind of hard counter this, and also it's been played at other events, so it's kind of like, well, if that's the established sort of standard, it's being played at other events. I thought, let's let it happen. I think this could make for some really not fun games against some of the other lists in this field.
But
hey.
Oh, let's talk about it. Let's go through it. Lucky, what have we got?
Yeah, we've got a great Glade Lord on a Forest Dragon. He's got the Ogre Blade and the Talisman of Protection, plus the things that makes him really hard to hit. So pretty standard there. He's got the level 4 Wizard on, what has he got? Yeah, Battle Magic, Ruby Ring, Oaken Stave. What's the Oaken Stave?
+3 range. It's a Dispel Scroll with +3 range that's always on for 40 points.
Yikes, that's pretty good.
It's so good.
Level 2 on the Warhawk, which is interesting. He's got the Law Familiar and Battle Magic as well, so he's probably sitting in the back line, chucking some fireballs out. Dave,
or it's gonna sort of. I feel like it's just gonna fly out on a flank, throwing out either for fireball and pillar.
Oh, 100%.
I'm telling you. You and Dave went so hard at me, Nick. You were like, no, level 2s suck. You're an idiot. You're dumb. Level 2s, you should never take them. Watch this guy do well. It's all because of the level 2.
Yeah, that's the problem. And sure, all the level 2.
So we've got 8 Glade Riders. They've got Hagbane Tips, 2 units of 8 Deepwood Scouts, also with Hagbane Tips, and 3 units of 5 Glade Guard with Hagbane Tips. That's pretty scary. Lots of poison. Assuming no poison, right? And the 3 units of Sisters of the Thorn. They're all, coming at you with Pillar of Fire. It's pretty scary for 134 points each. And then the 5 Wild Riders, and they have the Banner of the Hunter King. So yeah, this list does not want to interact with you apart from just shooting at you, running away, hitting you with
putting 4 Pillars of Fire down and staying out of Dispel range, while his level 4 stays in Dispel range and ruins all your magic.
5 Pillars of Fire.
And then the dragon comes in. Then the dragon comes in and just takes off anything that's left, really.
Yeah, the dragon.
There's also a tree man.
Yeah, the dragon and the tree man keep you a bit honest. Yeah, the dragon and tree man keep you a bit honest, and then everything else just guns you off the board. The sisters being able to just cast the pillars and then just move to the back of the board so you can never dispel them, and then they just strafe through your army all game.
Beautiful. The Sisters of the Thorn, right?
Whose idea was it to let them choose their spell? I mean, come on.
But there's also a unit in the game called Sisters of Avalon. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's high elves.
So there's Sisters of Avalon and Sisters of the Thorn. That's good. Okay, well done. Well done, GW.
So how would you even approach this list? Like if you're coming up against it,
quickly, hopefully.
What have you got to do?
Very quickly. Yeah, Holland, in an ideal situation, you came fully prepared to this event, and you drew this guy round 1. You drew this list round 1, and you had whatever army you wanted. What do you got?
Oh, look, I wouldn't mind playing this with my warriors, which puts out like 6 fireballs, 6 magic missiles, and 2 pillars each turn, because I'm doing a pretty similar amount of magical damage, but I'm at +5 to cast. I've got the puppet to sort of combat his magic, and I also have a dragon, but it's a chaos dragon, and his shooting at me is going into knights. Like my core is knights, and my magic comes, and my damage output comes from the mages in the knights, whereas my magic missiles are going into like units of elves, which are just going to fucking disappear. So
yeah, that's true.
Like my warriors list, which I think is a lot better than my beastmen list, is probably okay with this kind of army. But
yeah, right.
Something like my beastmen doesn't like it.
So I feel like there's not a whole lot that does like it,
No,
like,
I mean you need to either outshoot it or you need to be able to catch it and weather the shooting. And I don't think a lot of armies, some armies can weather the shooting a bit, but they're not going to then be able to catch this, because this, like.
But also, what do you catch?
Yeah, well, this. If you can get into the spell weavers and start getting into things like this, the scouts.
I guess a Bretonnian duke or baron with a virtue of heroism doesn't mind the Glade Lord.
No, probably not.
Luckily, there's not one of those.
the Glade Lord just he really suits this list because it makes you think about something while you just sprint across the board trying to get into combat. Something that can shut down the magic is probably gonna do pretty well because the Glade Guard, there's not that, yes, they're all poison shots, but there's not actually that many shots. Like, what are we looking at? 30, 40 shots a turn. So they're going to struggle to all get shots on the same target. So there's not that much just ballistic skill-based shooting. There's a bit, and it adds up, but it's not a crazy amount. It's really the magic that does all the damage.
The fight pillars.
I think that
by the way, can pillars stack on top of each other? Can they land on one another?
I think that's debatable. I don't think it says
because if they don't, then you can position pillars to pop your own pillars through your pillars, and
you can leapfrog all the pillars along.
Yeah, I wonder, because that'd be amazing. You just pop them in all the gaps that you've left, and then send one right through.
That's disgusting. What's the armor save on the Glade Lord? Does he have any armor, or is it just?
It'd be 4+ from the dragon, I imagine.
Yeah, 4 up, 5 up.
4 up, 5 up. And then the befuddlement is neg 1 to hit, and then the annoyance is neg 1 weapon skill. Yeah, but one of them only works in challenges.
Yeah, the annoyance is in challenges.
Yeah, interesting. I think that Scott's vampire list would not want to see this. I think the Mortis engines are just going to get taken off pretty early.
Yeah.
So that's probably the hard counter there, I'd say.
Depending on the terrain, right? If you can hide your Mortis engines for long enough. Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, my issue with this kind of list is you're gone.
Are they magical? Magical attacks? Like, do you just run your banshees up and nothing that he has can get you? I guess the pillars get you.
The pillars get you pretty quickly.
So the magic gets you.
All the magic, yeah.
Yeah, I think my issue with this kind of list is it's definitely a good competitive list. And if you're out there to compete in an event, absolutely. But if you're playing against someone who can't catch this and doesn't have a lot of shooting, like, it's just going to be a miserable time for that player.
Honestly, if you can assess that and work that out early, shake his hand, give him 20 points, and go for a beer. You'll have a better day.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for that. And that's probably my concern with this list at the event is there's some lists in the event that aren't super tuned, and this is going to do some nasty things to them.
Yeah, I was say,
James is lovely. I met him at the last event, so I'm sure he'll gently wipe the floor with people. He won't be brutal about it.
And like, at the end of the day, it's a list that you can take. We're playing a game with essentially no composition, and composition is probably something we've been talking about in the background as a potential episode. So, but at the end of the day, there's no comp in the game, and he's taking things within the game rules. So I've got no issue with it from that perspective. But yeah, man, it's not going to be a good time for something like this.
The Troll Horde! Oh my god, look at this, Jaden. What a legend. Jaden's taking the Troll Horde. He's got a Troll Hag, who's a level 2 wizard with battle magic, the General and a Talisman of Protection. He's got Ogdra's Swamp Digger. He's got 2 more Troll Hags, one with Troll Magic and one with battle magic. So that's 3, count them again, 1, 2, 3 Troll Hags. And then he's got 5 River Trolls with great weapons, 6 Stone Trolls, 6 Stone Trolls, 8 Goblin Spider Riders with Cavalry Spears at full command. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Does Ogdraz go with them? Is that is he on a wolf or something? Not sure. And
I think he's on foot.
Oh my, yes.
Totally not.
And then 8 Orc Boarboy Mob, Frenzy Biggins Warpaint full command, the Banner of Butchery, and ladies and gentlemen, and bees, we have a giant. Let's go. Let's go. This is excellent. I love it. I've never seen it on the table. I would love to play against it. I don't know what it does. I have no idea what it does.
It just runs a lot of trolls at you and smacks you with a great weapon, I assume.
Yeah, well, we almost had 2 troll hordes until Brad, Old Man Morin, pulled out again.
Oh, Brad was never playing. Come on.
He got started.
Love the guy, but he wasn't ever playing in the event.
No, the poor bloke's been a jury duty for the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, I had a good chat with him about that. That finished for him today.
Oh,
He's,
did it?
he's
Oh, good.
a bit of a broken man. It sounds like it was pretty tough, and I know what it's like. It's it's
for
not
real.
fun times.
Yeah, troll hags. What do troll hags do? Anyone got experience with troll hags? Because
So are those guys level 1s as well? They're those two down the bottom.
Yeah, the other two are level 1s, and then
Yeah.
one of them's level 2.
Oh my god.
Guys, no one's answering my question. What do they do?
We don't know. We don't know. We can't review this list.
Yeah, I'm friends
have
with
no
looking
idea
up what a
what's
troll
gonna
hag does.
We've never seen it before in our lives. All right, I've got it here. Let's have a look at the troll hag.
They're relatively tough because they come with regen 5 up. They've got 6 wounds and toughness 5. My issue is I just don't know if they do that much damage. They got stomp D6.
Oh god,
That helps.
oh god, guys.
But they've got to get 2 combat, right? Like they're all on foot. They're all monstrous infantry, move 6.
Guys, I've got horrible news.
Tell me.
Yeah, so the list we just looked at, bunch of pillars. Guess what trolls are?
Flammable.
Yeah, flammable.
Trolls are flammable.
Yeah, this.
Yeah, no, this list is not having a good time against those wood elves. Let's be very clear.
Admittedly, not everyone, not many people will. But yeah, these trolls look like a whole lot of fun. The troll hag, I think the troll vomit is and the swamp breath are the things you want.
I'm sure he'll have a good time.
Oh, no, wait, this is the rule I was thinking about. It's called motherly love.
Yeah, motherly love. Yeah.
It's beautiful. Instead of attacking normally during the combat phase, a troll hag can choose to make one of these. So you just nominate an enemy unit you're engaged in combat with to be the target, and you roll on the table. One of them's place a large blast template. Put a large blast template over the center of the target unit, and you take a single strength. What is she? Strength 6.
Strength 6. Yeah. Strength 6.
Everything takes strength 6 neg 2.
I want to see this happen to your halberdier unit so bad.
Yeah, beautiful. I'd love it. And then and the 3 to 4 is mother. The target suffers D3 plus 1 wounds with no armor or regen saves permitted. you just suffer D3 plus 1 wounds.
This list has so much meme value, and
then a 5 to 6.
I'm there for it. I'm so there for it.
You take D6 plus 1 hits using the strength of the model. No armor save permitted. Ward and regen. So, and then it gets neg 1 leadership. They're great. Oh my god! I just want the big troll ladies to smack me around.
It's scary, but it's not. It's actually not the worst list with magic. Sorry, like the worst amount of magic in these 15 lists, right? There's one more. Also orcs later that has zero magic.
Yeah, and look, you've got 3 hags. They've got attempts at dispelling, the level 2 to do some dispelling, and then heaps of trolls.
Ogdraz is a level 3, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
and then heaps of trolls, and then nuisance value of the spider riders and ball boys and the no slouches as well. I think it's sick. I think this would be so much fun to play against.
I think this would be really interesting to play against things like Greg's dwarves and some of the other lists. I think this could have some really interactive, interesting games. I'm keen to see those.
Honestly, I think if you don't have a whole lot of flaming, it becomes a lot better. Like, if I think that's the downside here with trolls is that if you're trying to design an army or write a list that's an all-comers, it's just such a big glaring weakness, and a lot of things have flaming. Like if we talk about Fire Guy in the other episode, like there's a lot of flaming.
Yeah, the prevalence of battle magic is an issue, isn't it?
Yeah, but other than that,
there's a lot of wounds of trolls there, though.
Yeah, and even if you get a couple of trolls, you're still going to get like 4 trolls smacking you in the face with great weapons.
Yeah. This is more of a stock kind of solid Orcs and Goblin list. I don't know why I put their Black Orcs in bold. I just really wanted to emphasize that there's 19 Black Orcs in the list.
This one definitely reminds me a lot more of what the kind of list that Jade runs.
This is so similar to Jade's list. We've got a War Boss on a Wyvern, Trollhide Trousers, Tasman of Preservation, no protection. It's tough. It's only 350.
Save Wyverns, yeah.
So cheap.
So cheap for what you get. Still has decent damage output. Still very quick.
The only
Night
thing
Goblin.
that it's
Yeah, go on.
lacking is a magic attack.
Yeah, true. Night Goblin Odd Knob with the Idol of Gork. Which one's the Idol of Gork?
Couldn't tell you.
It gives you extra dispel range. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, those
Morpheus.
are great items. You can see there's like 4 or 5 different copies of that item throughout these lists, and it's just like that extra little bit of dispel range and bonus is so good. Night Goblin War Boss with the 1-hit wonder. This guy's just a little nuisance value sort of thing. Big Boss, BSB, Ruby Ring. He's just sitting in the back, casting fireballs, giving you rerolls, and then another level 4 with the Nobly Staff. They're all pretty much on foot, so most of them are going to sit in the Black Orcs or near the Black Orcs. That's a bloody big unit of Black Orcs. Decent number of great weapons and stuff in there. That's a tough unit to crack.
And they got the big flag as well. Yeah.
10 Goblin Skirmishers with short bows, 10 Spider Riders, 5 Wolf Riders. Just decent nuisance value units that are going to gum up the board. 30 and 21 Night Goblins with 3 and 2 Fanatics, respectively. Fanatics are stupid. And then 12 Ball Boys, big uns with the War Banner and a Chariot. So
that's a big unit of Ball Boys.
Big ass unit of Ball Boys. Yeah.
And they're good. No War Machines, which is interesting. It means
not really any shooting.
Go to them, like Jabe would be running a Doom Diver or 2 and a couple of bolt throwers, whereas this one doesn't have that. So I think Fanatics are the best when someone comes to you.
Yeah, you can
you release and you get the double. So it'll be interesting to see if Nathan might be forced to approach the board, cross the board.
And it's not terribly quick if it has to cross the board either, right?
Yeah. It's still super solid though. Double level 4 and a within is always going to be strong.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a pretty good jumping off point.
Like, you don't care about charging for Night Goblins, so you just put them in marching column and they're not slow. No,
that's true. That is true. Yeah, you don't care. You just run them forward, throw the Fanatics out, and then flee.
Yep.
I like how the unit of 10 goblins. Oh no, they're skirmishers, so I'm assuming you can't have a Fanatic in them.
Presumably not, but they're a good little bunker for the Night Goblin.
Yeah, just goblins, not Night Goblins. So no Fanatics in there.
No Fanatic. Oh, of course they're just goblins.
Cool.
Yeah, this is a lot more stock than the trolls, and it's a bit more stock than this next list that we're going to see, which is Tim's Nomadic Warrior list, and this is the fucking meme list. Full fucking sand. Let's go.
2 Wyverns, 3, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 Chariots.
Yeah, this is fucking. This is Mad Max.
Let's go. So Black Orc War Boss on a chariot, no less, with the Trollhide trousers and the choppiest chopper. 2 Wyverns, 2 Orc War Bosses on Wyverns, 335 points. One's got a Battle Axe of the Wire and the Meteoric Iron. The other one's got the Ogre Blade and Talisman of Protection. So just value. And then we've got a Goblin Big Boss, Giant Wolf Ambusher with a Grizzly Trophy Rack, a Black Orc Boar Chariot, 3 Goblin Wolf Chariots, another 3 Goblin Wolf Chariots, 5 Goblin Wolf Riders, 5 Goblin Wolf Riders, 10 Orc Boar Boys, and then 4 more single Orc Boar Chariots. Let's absolutely go. LFG. Insane.
I love this.
Tell you what I love here is the Goblin Big Boss on a wolf with ambush and the Grizzly Trophy Rack, which is units within 6 get neg 1 leadership. So this fucker is just going to pop up behind your army. He's going to be running around 8-10 inches a turn and just making sure that whatever he wants has neg 1 leadership. I think it's fucking hilarious. It's similar to, I do something quite similar in my Beast army. But
just pop your unit back with the banners and
yeah.
Debuff. Horrible. And this is about as subtle as a brick to the back of the head, isn't it? Like, I have 12 chariots, 2 wyverns, and some other stuff. Guess what? I'm going to charge you.
I thought my 4 chariots was a lot.
He's
It'd be interesting because the chariots, the majority of those chariots don't have Swiss stride, right? Those are the heavy chariot versions, which means
that's right.
they actually don't cross the board as quickly as you'd hope. I mean,
Well, they don't have Swiss stride, but they can march these days, so they go on 14.
Yeah. 14, yeah.
And then the impact hits. Think of the impact hits.
This would be interesting against the Wood Elves, because the Wood Elves are going to gun a lot of this off the board, but the chariots are relatively tough, and there's so many of them. And the 2 Wyverns, like that dragon can keep stuff away, but it can only keep so much stuff away.
What's the dragon? The dragon's going to go into one of the Wyverns and not do a whole lot. Exactly. And then guess what? He's got another Wyvern.
Exactly.
Like, I really think that's not bad. You know, not a bad shot.
No magic defense.
No magic defense. It's
really
I think the screams could scare the shit out of this list. It's just like, scream off a Wyvern, scream off another Wyvern.
So, okay, what about this? So those dwarf blocks, which we know are like very tough, almost impossible to kill. If you can get enough chariots and a Wyvern or 2 into them, do you think you could take off one of those dwarf blocks?
Well, how much do you really care about a chariot when you have the Rune of Hesitation in your unit, right?
You're not getting impacted.
Oh, of course. Okay. Yeah. No, that kills it, doesn't
it?
So charge the other unit. But yeah.
But I believe that is the front arc, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you flank it, yeah, true.
How many charges can you fit in the flank of a unit of hammers or whatever? 2 each flank?
It charges the front arc of a unit carrying this standard. Does not count as having charge for the purpose of choosing which weapon to use or any special rules it may have.
Yeah. So just don't charge the front.
I like this list particularly because games will be over quickly, one way or another. So Tim will have plenty of time to hang out. I mean, if he's playing this at CanCon, which it's 2 games a day, he's going to have a lot of spare time.
No, I just bring your Magic deck along and play some Magic in between games.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, this just doesn't fuck around. I love it. I love it so much. So many chariots. Lachi, the Ogre Kingdoms.
Here we go. Yeah, this is the 2,400 point version of the list I've been talking about a few times.
Wait, are these lists 2,400 points? No wonder they're so big.
Yeah, exactly.
Shut up.
So yeah, got the fire guy, level 4 Swordmaster with Ruby Ring and Battle Magic, and the Law Familiar. So he's just throwing out all the magic missiles. We've got the the BSB on the Stonehorn with the War Banner and the Talisman of Protection. So he's really tough. Got a unit of 8 Iron Guts with the Cannibal Totem. They're also just, big, tough block, hard to get points from if I don't stuff up too badly. I got the unit of 3 Bulls. They're the Cortax, unfortunately, but they kind of help bunker the Slaughtermaster. Got 3 units of Saber Tusks. 1 unit of 4 is Scouting, then 2 units of 2 Vanguarding. I've got a unit of 4 Mournfang with the Bull Standard, so they're re-rolling failed wounds for impact hits, which is relevant when you're rolling 4d3 strength 5 impact hits. I've got a unit of 4 Man-Eaters, so this is kind of these guys at 2,400 points.
That's a lot of points.
Yeah, they're 345 points for these guys. So there's 4 of them. They've got Motley Crew, so I can have a mix of weapons, but they all have Brace of Ogre pistols. They've got 2 great weapons and 2 Iron Fists, which basically means I've got a 4-up armor save on them when I want to, and then the 2 great weapons helps. They've got Poison and Stubborn, so they're throwing out 8 pistol shots a turn. They've also got the Dragonhide Banner, which gives them flaming attacks, and they reroll 1s to hit. So which is cool. So I like these guys. I think they are definitely too expensive, but I like them. I want to use the models.
4 models. What's their save?
4 up. So
do they have the regen banner?
They don't. The Iron Guts do. But they sit there with the Iron Blaster and the level 4 Wizard, just trying to throw out pump out.
Yeah, they give you a bit of damage output at range, don't they?
Yeah, and I like that they've got flaming attacks as well as the poison. But there's some monsters like vampire counts or other things that are Tomb Kings, trolls or treatment are all they're all flammable. So that helps knock down some wounds. And then I've got the unit of 4 Yetis, and they scout, and they're kind of fun. Into the right target. So yeah, I think it's certainly not fully optimized. I like the man-eaters. I think they're decent, but what the other thing I was toying with was putting in a tyrant with the tenderizer, and putting that into the iron guts to try and scare off dragons. Or it could be another unit of 4 Mournfang.
I like that at 2,400 people can sort of look at that man-eater and go, oh, that's a bit expensive, but I got some extra points to play with, so I can chuck it in there.
Well, yeah.
What's the range on the Ogre pistols?
24 inches.
Like, they're handguns. Yeah. Ogre pistols are just handguns.
They've got good range, and they can definitely do some damage into the right targets.
Yeah.
They're vulnerable.
Multi-shot?
Yeah. But they're quick.
Okay, they don't. The one.
Yeah, they're normally hitting on 5s with 8 shots, but re-rolling the 1s, and the 6 is poison.
Okay.
So that's cool. I did say this to you guys in the chat, but I am liking 2,400 because you basically get some more of those units that are a bit more interesting. Because I think at 2,000, normally people are having their standard level 4 with the Lore Familiar. They're having their Lord on a dragon with the Ogre Blade and the Talisman of Preservation. But some of those magic items, you obviously can only have them once, right? So then the more points you have to play with, the more interesting choices that you are able to make. Anyway, that's just been my experience after playing
2,999 points it is.
Could be.
Make it 3K, you coward.
Yeah, I mean, this is starting to be, one of the better ogre lists you can make. I really like the Stonehorn BSB at 390 points. I think it's a really solid unit.
And Dave had some success as well with ogres, and he's in the same ballpark as you. I think like you've both independently come to a similar sort of conclusion. I think.
Yeah. Because could you make it a bit more refined and efficient, probably, but.
Yeah.
But you were talking to me about the list you were running, and then he was like, "Oh, I just did well at an event with this other list, and it's very similar." I was like, "Oh, okay." So you both sort of found your way to what works for ogres, which is cool.
I think, yeah, definitely.
My turn. We got some
Beastmen.
This I should have submitted warriors, but because I'm running the event, I posted my list early and went, "I'm gonna, here's what I'm taking, guys." So I'm not just looking at everyone's list and choosing what's good. So, and also I've actually been doing some painting, and so I wanted to use the stuff I've been painting. I got another spawn on my desk at the moment, so I've got a big bright red spawn.
Right.
So
I hate those things with a passion.
They're so good. So yeah, I got a Doom Bull. I love this Doom Bull. He's got a great weapon, which sometimes he doesn't use because he's base strength 6, and he gets AP 2 with his hand weapon anyway if he's got Primal Fury active. So sometimes he just whacks people with his hand weapon. Heavy armor shield, bedazzling helm, so he's neg 1 to be hit. Talisman of protection, and he's got slug skin, which gives him and his unit neg 1 to be hit in combat. So he's neg 2.
Because his unit.
Yeah, him and the unit. So the slug skin's 50 points, gives him and his unit neg 1 to hit, and then the talisman, the bedazzling helm gives him neg 1 to be hit. So if you want to attack him, you're neg 2 to hit. Talisman of protection keeps him alive. He's there to basically be a deterrent for a dragon. It's like if the dragon wants to come in, the dragon itself is going to be hitting him on 6s. Most riders might hit him on 5s because they'll have more weapon skill than him, but sometimes he gets weapon skill 7 from the favorite god. So you're going to be coming and hitting him on 6s. Even the stomps, he's going to have a 5-up armor and a 5-up ward against. So he's there to just be like, yeah, you get no combat res by doing damage, and I'm going to smack you. Yeah. Great Bray Shaman, pretty standard in most beast lists, Elementalism, Hagtree Fetish, Ruby Ring. It's just really not much else to put on it. Hagtree Fetish could be the Lore Familiar.
It's already 240 points, which is not cheap.
Yeah, exactly. Tossing up between Elementalism and what's it called? Demonology. I think Elementalism's got a bit more potential, but it's not a great lore to not have a Lore Familiar on. There's some pretty naff spells in there. So
the fact that Valtide is a signature spell just makes me mad.
Yeah, so good. And that's what he's in there for. He's the deterrent for your dragons and for your your stuff like that he can sit there just vile-tiding stuff. Wargore, as suggested by Dave, with a great weapon, a battle standard, the war banner on a Tuskor chariot. So he's not super expensive, given I could have been buying a chariot for 85 points separate. So he's only 100 and something points. He's got a bit of combat res. He gives me rerolls. Not cheap and cheerful little character. 2 units of 10 gore with ambush. One of them's got a totem of rust to be neg 1 armor for everything within 6. So the plan is that pops up behind people and just interferes with them a little bit. Sometimes I won't ambush that unit if I really needed to get into the front line, because the ambushing's a bit unreliable. And then 16 gore with the Manbane standard, which is the neg 1 leadership to enemies within 6. So that's where the Doom Bull sits, because the Doom Bull has Warband, so he can sit in there. Gets rerolls to charge. There's going to be three ranks because they're a horde unit, and he gets +2 to his. He's got I think he's got horde, so he gets +2 to his leadership. I think is how that works. And then 3 Tuskor chariots. I think they're just really good for 85 points. 3 Dragon Ogres, 2 units of 1 Dragon Ogre. I didn't go Shartax because I just didn't have the points. I mean, I could have found 21 points probably. But I don't know if the Shartak's really that good. And I don't like taking a Shartak on the unit of 3 because sometimes I want them to charge a dragon and not have the Shartak get challenged out. And then 5 Harpies, probably the best redirector in the game at 55 points for a little skirmishing unit that can fly. A Gorgon and 2 Nurgle Spawn, which are just insane value at 170 points a pop, as Danny will tell you.
Wild. The bane of my existence.
They've been...
This is a super scary list. Just so many single targets. I mean, like the magic's quite good, and that Doom Bull is just, as you said before, just kind of scaring off anything. It'd be interesting to see like what, if you've got artillery, what are you shooting at this? Are you trying to like take off, the BSB, like who seems kind of vulnerable without any ward save or anything like that, or are you just trying to get the Gorgon off? The gigantic spawns are pretty hard to kill, right? Because they've got regen. Yeah. So, are you trying to remove the single Dragon Ogres so they don't redirect and chaff you out? It's anyway, like this is going to give people some choices, and inevitably they'll make the wrong choice.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm trying to do.
I played Nick with this list, and that day I just decided to try like full guns of the Empire, so 2 Hellblasters and a bunch of cannons and a steam tank and etc. etc. And it was fun, but there's too much stuff for the level, particularly for Empire.
You killed the Harpies, and that was because you scattered a vortex into them.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
and so was it.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is like, I could have killed more than just the Harpies, but things they come across the board so quickly, and things need to be at least damaged, or like need to make you like just wiping out, for example, one thing across the other side of the board was not the right choice, but it was also wasn't the wrong choice. There is no right choice.
Yeah,
when you've got everything coming at you. And it seems like the Dwarf player had a similar experience of the shooting Dwarf player.
Yeah, just too many units. Like the shooting was popping off with multiple chariots a turn, but there's 4 chariots, there's 3 large monsters, there's the 5 dragon ogres plus all the skirmishing units, and then the block with the wizard and the Doom Bull just running at you. Like it's a lot of different units. There's a lot of moving parts. The parts of it are tough, parts of it are very powerful, and it's just you kind of got to, if it all arrives at the same time, it can be a bad time for people, which is the theory anyway. And it's fun. I'm just running stuff at people.
Yeah, having a Doom Bull seems fun. It seems really fun. Just chop stuff up.
That Doom Bull rolling in the Eye of the Gods table and getting like +1 strength and then +1 attack or +1 weapon skill, and just being like, oh, now I have 6 attacks, weapon skill 7, the reroll 1s, potentially strength 9 attacks. It's fun.
So some of my thinking, about my list was, could I drop the Man-Eaters and put in, the Tenderizer guy to potentially scare off things like Doom Bulls, but I was like, actually I did, read the Doom Bull rules did some numbers, and I was like, the tenderizer guy is just not having a good time.
The Tyrant's hitting the Doom Bull on 6s. Like he's such a tough unit. So
it's just
his damage output's not
crazy.
insane, but because he doesn't do multiple wounds or anything like that. But he gets reroll 1s to hit, and he can get up potentially weapon skill 7 sometimes. So weapon skill 6, -2 to be hit. He gets reroll 1s to hit. Like he was attacking a steam tank against Danny. And because I had +1 weapon skill, he was hitting the steam tank on 2s, re-rolling 1s, and then he's wounding it on 3s because he's got a great weapon and strength 8. So he chips. I
got lulled into a false sense of security by one round of really bad rolling, and I was like,
I did nothing to it the first round. I'm like, this is going badly.
That seems good.
And then 5 wounds the next round. Similar list here. Paul submitted Beastmen as well, and I spoke to him today, and he said his Doom Bull was inspired by mine because it is the same Doom Bull.
Same Doom Bull, same 2 gigantic spawns.
That's very funny that you just dodged my question.
What was your question?
I said, "What's the secret sauce? What don't you want to see? How do you kill it?" And you went very conveniently to the next list.
There's a delay. I'd already clicked on it. What don't I want to see? I don't really know. I don't think I can do much against the Scream list. I think the Scream list is going to fuck me up. Something chronic.
That does seem like a bad time.
So because I just don't have the shooting, and I'm not
You're
that
pretty quick. And you've got a lot of targets.
Quick though.
So I
like
think you can get to the Wood Elves before they get to you. I
don't know about that. The lack of swift stride and the lack of anything that can really threaten that dragon. The Doom Bull can, but
what do you mean, Vile type? Take it off.
It's not going to just take it off, and he's got good magic defense with the
Oak stuff.
So I think the Wood Elves are a problem for me, but I can just full send at the Wood Elves, and I think if I put enough pressure on them, if they might make mistakes and things like the spawn against the Wood Elves. If the spawn roll well on their movement, if they get a big first turn, they're going to create some real problems. But I just don't. I don't know how well I go with 5 pillars of fire strafing through my list.
Yeah, interesting. I'd love to see that matchup actually, because I feel like you're right. I feel like what that list does well is the pressure. Like the mental pressure of there's everything all at once. Yep. Like, what do I do?
I
deal with this. Solve the puzzle.
I think it'll also probably depend big time on who gets first turn, because if you can get first turn and just put everything halfway up the board, that's going to help the tempo of the game a lot. But if he gets a turn to shooting before you do that,
if he puts up 5 pillars before you do that,
he gets the 5 pillars up straight away and starts walking them across the board.
That's bad.
So Paul's got Beastman as well. So he's got the same Doom Bull. He's got pretty much the same Bray Shaman, except his is on a Chariot, which is a good shout. Mine was on a Chariot for a little while too. He's got a funny little Wargore with the Headsman's Axe and Ambush. I find it's pretty funny to sneaking around the back of your list with the Headsman's Axe. A Gore Bull with the Pelt of the Dark Young and the Pelt of Midnight. A small little Gore Herd, which are going to ambush with the Wargore, I assume. 2 Tuskor Chariots, 3 individual Razor Gore, which I like these. I should probably be running them in my list as well at 50 points each. A good little redirector, nuisance value unit. 5 Minotaurs.
Are they skirmishers?
The Razor Gores? No, I don't think so. They're just single. They're like a single Dragon Ogre. 5 Minotaurs with full command of the War Banner. There's 4 great weapons and an additional hand weapon in there. So they're going to get the Doom Bull and the Gore Bull in there. So this is an absolute bus of a unit that's just going to be pushing it.
Hang on. Is that going to be 7 wide?
Presumably. I mean, it could be 4. It could be 4 and 3, but why wouldn't you just put it 7 wide and just push it straight forward? Maybe. 3 Dragon Ogres, great weapons, heavy armor, Shartak, 2 units of 5 Harpies, and 2 Spawn of Nurgle. So this hasn't got as much stuff as me. It's pretty dangerous. Like there's still a lot of dangerous stuff, but it's probably a little bit more concentrated into the one big Minotaur unit versus I've got the multiple units of Gore. And I've got.
That's an interesting difference because just looking at this now, if the Doom Bull and Gore Bull are in the Minotaur herd, that's what you shoot.
Yeah.
You put everything you've got into that unit, which is
that's what I deliberately try to do is have sort of
spread it.
That target saturation, spread it around, and the Doombull sort of sitting in a gore unit, 16 gore. It's like, oh, you're going to shoot my gore, go for it. Whereas this one, you're right. You go, oh, I'm going to shoot this Minotaur, and Minotaur die to shooting as easily as a gore does, pretty much.
Yeah.
So. The 3 Razor Gore are good though, and there's a lot of nuisance value with the 3 Razor Gore and the 5 Harpies. So it's got a bit of board control.
I think it's good.
Interested to see how the Minotaur herd with the 2 characters goes, because it's something I've thought about as well.
And I mean, just the 2 chariots, the 3 stupid 50-point Razor Gores. They're so annoying. Yep. That's just like ultimate annoying value. Like, and at least Dragon Ogres, like you kill a Dragon Ogre, you're like, all right, I've killed a thing. You kill a Razor Gore.
The Dragon Ogres at least is a threat as well. You're like, oh, I killed a Dragon Ogre. They're fucking good, but Razor Gores just.
You killed 3 Razor Gore, and you're like, I haven't even got enough to score an 11-9.
This one doesn't have a BSB though, does it? So there's probably going to be some risk to panic if you can kill them.
Yeah, a lot of stuff is... The BSB doesn't help with that as much because a lot of stuff in Beastmen is Mark of Undivided, so it gets the rerolls on the panic checks anyway.
Right. Oh, and a lot of the units probably aren't unit strength 5 either, so causing panic as well. Yeah, cool. Just think.
So you've got sort of an innate resistance to panic, and like even the Minotaurs have Mark of Chaos Undivided. So like generically, stuff has reroll fear, panic, and terror. Yeah,
you wouldn't want to lose a combat by 1 or something with the Doombull Minotaur unit, and then roll a 9 or a 10 and see you later.
Yeah, I mean that would be awkward. That would be awkward. But yeah, like you've got the Gore are undivided, the Tuskors are undivided. I don't think the Razor Gores give a shit. Minotaurs are undivided, the Dragon Ogres are immune to Psych, and then the Gigantic Spawn are unbreakable. So
yeah, cool.
And that's it. That's our lists. So, what's your favourite, Lockie, of the bunch?
Favorite is in who do I think is going to win, or the coolest?
Give me both.
I think that Tim's is probably the coolest. I think the Full Send I just love. As I said, he'll have some very quick games one way or another. And I think, probably who's going to win.
Tim is the Nomadic War.
Nomadic War, yeah. And then the Wood Elf player. Sorry, I forget his name, but the Wood Elves will James. I think they'll take it out. It's a pretty scary list.
Danny?
Interesting. Huge fan of the Trolls. Love the Trolls.
Yeah.
And I think just like matchup dependent, I don't even think they're that bad.
No,
like I think Troll Hags are scary. And he's got 3 of them. So yeah, favorite list Trolls, and then don't know. Couldn't really pick it. There's a few things that look pretty scary. I'm not going to go Wood Elves. I'm going to say Chris with his Tomb Kings, I think.
The Dark Horse.
Yeah. He's my dark horse shout as well. I think we know he's a solid player. I think that list is really solid.
Yeah.
And not something people have researched and know how to deal with. It's again also not something that's like you get easy points out of.
Yeah.
You pay for every point you get out of it.
And my favorite list is those is the Full Send Orc and Goblin list with the chariots. It's dumb, but it's funny. All right, well, I'll see you guys on the weekend. I've got a few more TOE things to do in the next couple of days, and I've got this episode to edit and get out. But keen for a weekend of gaming. The last time I played a Warhammer tournament was probably a couple of years ago, so I can't wait.
Yeah, it'll be good fun. What actual editing do you do, Nick? None, right? Zero.
Chop the ends off, press upload, and put a thumbnail on it.
If this is not released by midnight on Wednesday, the 11th of December.
Guess you should
2024.
putting their hand up to do the editing next episode.
No, I'm the personality hire. I have no technical skills.
If only you had your own YouTube channel.
If only. Well, Lockie, Nick, we've been the Dwellers Below.
Don't fail your strength test.
See you next time.